This video's concepts carry over to any digital audio workstation, but pertains mostly to electronic-based digital music. If you are sending stems or files in to be mixed, make sure you do it right. This will save your engineer or producer a lot of time and will save you a lot of money and a few emails from an unhappy engineer. Stems are individual or sometimes group tracks that when listened to all at once will form your whole song. The stems you get from a remix competition are similar, but different than those you'd want to give your mix engineer. For example, it's preferable to let each part of percussion to have its own track: kick, snare, hat, etc. No group tracks, no drum bus tracks, no send or return tracks. The same goes for leads and basses. However, there are exceptions to every rule. If you layer your kick, then make only one kick stem. Don't break down every layer of the kick into its own track, unless maybe you had a specific problem that you wanted the engineer to address. Or if you have a specific delay pattern you program that's set up in a return track, then you may want to leave it as is. Your engineer will get the hint and use your return track, or they might make their own delay based on yours if necessary. At this point, if you haven't already, it really helps to name each track, or at least try your best. No nicknames, no jokes. Take this naming very seriously. It will save your engineer a headache when sorting through a dozen tracks named track 1, track 2, track 3, and help to figure where everything goes. It's perfectly fine to name things like lead 1, lead 2, high lead, pluck lead, etc. Just try to be descriptive, but short. One of the biggest problems I see is with gain staging, which deals with the path the audio signal travels to get from the source through all of your plugins before eventually arriving at your master fader, speakers, and then your ears. Start at your sound's source and make sure the signal is turned up appropriately, but is not clipping. Follow your signal chain through each effect or plugin, making sure the signal stays strong without clipping. Attenuate or turn down only at the end of your chain if you need to. This will result in a much better sound and is a good habit to keep for down the road when you're doing some more advanced techniques in your musical career. I'll go into further details about gain staging in another video, but for now, try to be aware that this issue does exist, especially when recording in the analog domain. This is what my voice sounds like when it's being recorded at a really low level. I had to boost it quite a bit to hear it, but along with it comes a lot of noise that could have been evaded if I followed basic gain staging procedures. It's ideal to have dry sounds when receiving stems, so take off effects like EQ, sidechain, compression, reverb, etc., unless it has a specific creative influence in the track that is sculpting your sound. Effects with automations can stay because those tend to have creative influences on the overall track. Gated reverb on a snare to create an 80s style sound are fine effects to leave in a stem, but a compressor squashing the transients out of a snare, even if it's by accident, is really hurting you. Your effects may be doing harmful things to your track that can't be undone by the engineer. Once all of your tracks are cleaned up, named, effects eliminated, and the volume levels are strong, you may notice the master is clipping or the overall song sounds horrible. As long as the individual tracks sound fine, then you're in good shape. Highlight the whole song start to finish and export each track separately. Double check your final product. Make sure that every track is the same length and the exact same file size. A 5-minute track of silence should be the same file size as a 5-minute drum loop. If done correctly, the engineer only has to drop the files into the DAW. They will automatically line up and be ready to mix. I'll say again that there are exceptions to every rule. If you are confident in your ability, you may choose to disregard some of what I've said. Or if your engineer has explained an alternative way to do something, then by all means, you should listen to them. If you're confident with the stems you've created, put them in a folder, right-click that folder, and compress it. If you don't have a Dropbox or Google Drive account, you should make one and upload it there. Then it's really easy to share that file via email or text. Or if it makes it easier for you, put it on a thumb drive and deliver it to them personally. Don't waste your time trying to email the tracks separately. The files are way too big and it'll take way too long for email to deal with all of that. If something I said didn't make sense, or you have a better solution to go about things, please leave a comment below, or talk to your mix engineer. Best of luck to everyone, have fun in the studio, and never stop making music.